Did you experience any like complications when you were coming back from in your postpartum?
Yeah.
Like going back to exercise?
Yeah, I didn't deal with any like diastasis or anything like that, luckily, but I did deal with like the peeing your pants when jump roping. And it's like, you get in there, and I had no idea again about that. And you go into class and all the other moms are like, oh yeah, it just happens. And everyone's dealing with it. And I'm like, really? And then I went to see my doctor and I mentioned it. And she's like, yeah, not much you can do. We can do surgery if you want, like a bladder surgery. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this can't be it. So, so I'm just stoked that like other moms are going to have more information than I did. But yeah, other than that, I didn't have any major things coming back other than just like getting back mentally to a place where I could get myself back to the gym and moving. And once I did, that's really where my passion for fitness like rekindled, because I felt like I got myself back. Like for that first year, it was like I was a mom, I was at home or I was working or I was taking care of this child. And going on business trips and like finally getting back to the gym and spending that hour. Like I would put her in the childcare. I would spend that hour on myself, and I kind of started coming back to life. And so, that's like where my passion just kind of rekindled.
Did you deal with a lot of nausea or morning sickness during the first trimester?
A little bit. Definitely the first trimester. I luckily didn't experience it longer than that. I more so had like food aversions, like chicken sounded disgusting, which I was used to.
No one likes chicken.
Yeah,
everybody.
It's
like chicken, we cannot do it.
We can't do it. I don't know what it was, like the texture or something. Because like I could do steak. I don't know. The chicken was. Ugh.
Did your food aversions change over time? Because sometimes clients that I've worked with that are in that first trimester, like 1 week they can do something like steak, and the next week they're like, get it away from me.
Yes, definitely changed. And I feel like I ate most of the same things through pregnancy, but I have clients who are very similar. Like first trimester, certain things were horrible. Like and I'm a coffee fiend. Like obviously, you're not supposed to drink a lot of coffee when pregnant anyways, but it didn't even sound good and that was weird to me. I'm like, it was weird. I'm trying to think what else, if I had any. I didn't have any other real weird ones, but.
What did you eat for the most part?
God, man, I'm like, of my memory, I'm like, this feels so long ago now thinking about it. Like,
it's almost 10 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I'm old. I know that I ate a lot of bagels. Like you just do what you can. And I always tell that to my clients too, because it's weird. There's like this link, there's studies that link high protein to reducing nausea, but then you're like, I don't want to eat a lot of things that are high in protein right now. So it's like this battle. So I did a lot of like smoothies, shakes, trying to get protein in. And of course, it's like if you're going to do a protein powder, run it by your doctor. But I did do that, like the rice cakes, like think really bland stuff was a lot of my like early pregnancy. But then I feel like as things progressed, I got back into kind of my typical diet of like chicken, steak, burger, get the protein in, big rice.
So like during the first trimester, it was just kind of like eat what you could eat.
Eat what you can, because it's not quite as important in the first trimester to be getting extra calories in. As long as you're kind of maintaining and getting nutrients in, you're not too worried about getting extra calories in the first trimester. By the second trimester, we want to bump them up. So then really, hopefully your nausea has subsided.
How do you you said it was a battle with the protein. How did you navigate that? Because I mean, how much protein do you need, in that first trimester? And then, because it can be very hard to get enough.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's when I typically, first trimester, it's like, do your best. If you need to do a shake, if you need to live on like getting it in through nut butters or quinoa, like little things, even like yogurt, I felt like I could tolerate in pregnancy. So Greek yogurt is a good one because you can pack some protein in there. And then, so the recommendations for pregnant women, in my opinion, the protein is kind of low. I think the recommendation is like 60 to 100 grams a day.
I think it's 60 to 100 grams. Yeah.
Which is low.
That's weak. So it's like, I usually am like bare minimum, try to get 100 grams a day. And a lot of women, if they're, listening to you, they are probably, within the fitness, they have an idea of how much protein they should be getting. So kind of sticking around there to that like 0.7 grams per pound, if that's what you're doing like before pregnancy. I would even say try to increase it a little bit in pregnancy because it's so important for building muscle mass, helping your baby grow, brain development, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, like you said, first trimester, do your best. But then if you can, try to get it in through like whole food sources. The rest of your pregnancy is going to be your best bet.
Did you have any aversions to stuff like red meat or fish? I know you said specifically like chicken was like a hell nah, but like was fish and like steak and stuff like that?
Yeah, steak I did not. And like, I think burgers were good because I feel like they're not quite as, I don't know, chicken, I think it's the texture thing that's like the issue for people. But I wasn't a big fish eater when I was pregnant. And I think it again was the texture thing. And so I didn't do a lot of fish. Even now, I don't do a ton of fish. I like salmon, but I'm kind of a baby with seafood. But yeah, that stuff wasn't too bad for me.
It makes me wonder because obviously like I've never had kids, but it's like I know what it feels like when you're post-surgery and like the thought of food just makes you like want to gag. So I wonder if they feel similar, but
probably.
Like
and like certain smells are just like trigger things. And yeah, it's hopefully like for most women, it's like subsides by the second trimester. But I know some people deal with it longer, which is horrible.
Did you track your food at all while you were pregnant, or did you monitor it at all at any point in time? Or?
I didn't while I was pregnant. And for most women, if you're tracking going into pregnancy, the only reason I say like you might want to keep tracking is to make sure you're getting enough food in, make sure you're getting the nutrients in. I definitely don't recommend like being super like stringent on tracking your calories and your macros during pregnancy, but making sure like it is a good idea if you're concerned about getting enough protein in and getting enough nutrients in and calories in general, then yeah, like that might be a good idea to track at least for a little bit to make sure you're on track.
Do you want to talk a little bit about, because calorie recommendations do change from first trimester to second and third. Do you want to talk kind of on what that looks like generally?
Yeah. So general recommendations, and they kind of make these based on, I don't love the phrase, but like normal, healthy weight going into pregnancy. So if you're in that range, they will typically recommend, like starting in the second trimester, that you bump up your calories, whatever you're currently eating, about 300 to 340 extra calories per day. And then in the third trimester, that bumps up to like 340 to about 450 extra calories a day. And I always give people the disclaimer, like, always remember that you can take those guidelines and start with them, but those are general guidelines. And if you're someone who's like super active, you're hitting the gym 4 times a week, you're walking, and you're tired, like that might mean you need more calories. Same with, maybe if you're a little bit less active, it's like we got to listen to our bodies and bump things up if we need to, especially when you're pregnant, because your body is using all of those nutrients and calories to grow a human. So, and then like if you're someone who's underweight or overweight, those recommendations might change a little bit. And I just recommend chatting with your doctor about that.